You're watching Toon Army TV. This is your full-time live match reaction show review where you guys, the fans, get to have your say on what you've just witnessed at St James's Park. It's finished, unfortunately. Newcastle United 1, Tottenham Hotspur 3. That's now 3 defeats in a row for the Toon. And it just looks as if the lads have played for safety and that's it. Spurs have won by 3-1. Fair play to them. They've had something to play for this season. They're playing for the Europa League. But in our position, the minute you're safe and you've got nothing to play for, it's difficult for the lads to really put up some sort of performance. I thought the performance today was a lot better, but Tottenham, with their quality, put their chances in. And with their quality, they don't need asking twice. And Harry Kane got 2, and Son got 1 for Spurs. And we got our goal through Matt Ritchie. Did we do enough in the game to get a result? Well, yes, we did, but we didn't put our chances in when we needed to. And when you play up against their sort of quality, then you're going to cause yourself problems time and time again. Some of the defending at times was a bit there to be questioned. The goals that were conceded were just woeful. And Spurs will never score 3 easier goals in a game ever in the Premier League. They were gifted on a play to them from minute 1. Really were. They were gifted. And I gave the lads some sort of hope that we could get something from the game. There was chances that we could have got something. But listen, they've got good, they've got good players, quality like Bergwijn, like Harry Kane, like Son, who I mentioned in the preview. And they literally put us to the sword. So if you haven't seen these live match reaction reviews before, I talk about the game. I'll go through it and then I'll just give my opinion on it. So the team, as it was, there was a few changes. We've seen the likes of Yedlin start, which was because we haven't got enough at the back in terms of quality, in terms of centre-backs. Lascelles is out. We could also now be missing Fabian Schär for the game against Brighton after he pulled up in the 90th minute. But we went with a 4-4-1-1 formation and, it wasn't a bad one. We did match Spurs, throughout the game. We did, have a lot more of the ball than we did against Watford. I was expecting a better performance in terms of effort. That was there. The passion was there. But the finishing was just off as usual. So 6 minutes in, we get our first chance when Almiron, he wins the ball and he has a shot and it takes a deflection off the Spurs centre-backs and we get a corner, nothing comes of it. And then 15 minutes in, Ritchie, he crosses the ball in from the left-hand side and Shelvey, he's sort of unmarked and he heads it over the crossbar. For me, he needs to get that on target. It's a brilliant cross by Matt Ritchie. He works ever so hard and I don't know what he was doing. It was probably easier to score than put that wide. And then Spurs, they grew into the game. They got better as the game went on in that first half and they got that big chance on 26 minutes. They go 1-0 up through Son. Mora, he nicks the ball off Fabian Schär. I don't know what he's doing, but if in doubt, I keep saying, kick it out, clear it, do something. Don't lose the ball in a daft area where Spurs, with their quality, they're going to hit you on the counter-attack in the day. Harry Kane, he won the ball and they just kept passing it, amongst each other around the box and we couldn't really get a foot on them. And Son, he was unmarked on the left-hand side and he fires it under Yedlin's legs, who's trying to get to Son, and he beats he beats Dubravka, and it's 1-0 to Tottenham. Listen, Tottenham weren't really brilliant in those first 25 minutes. I think we had the better chances, but with their quality, they put the ball in the back of the net, and that's all they need. They just need that one chance, that one lapse of concentration, and they go 1-0 up. And it's just unfortunate, really, because we had the momentum, we had the desire there, we had the ball for long periods, and we should have tried to put one of them in before Tottenham got their first goal. And yeah, it was a poor one to concede. And then on the 29th minute, only 4 minutes later, we could have conceded a second goal through Heung-min Son. He picked up the ball and he must have had a shot from a good 30, 40, 50 yards out, and it took a deflection and it was kind of going into the top right-hand corner, and Dubravka had to tip it over the crossbar for a corner. Nothing come of it, and we got off for one there. It could have been 2-0 there and then to Tottenham, and they could have had the game wrapped up in the first half an hour. And then on 39 minutes, Almiron, he picks up ASM. He goes past a few players, and I say he should hit that first time. For me, Alan St-Maximin, he's got great pace. He can take on players, but when you do all of the hard work and you're bursting into the defence, like tonight against Tottenham, you've got to hit the ball first time. If you hit it first time, I think we'll get back into the game. I believe it's 1-1. And he sort of doesn't have that effort. And, well, let's just say Shelvey shanks it and it's blocked. And that's a chance wasted, really. A really big chance for us to get back into the game at 1-1. And there was a big chance on 41 minutes from the right-hand side when Shelvey, he delivers a great ball into the box for Dwight Gale. He glances his head off the left-hand post, and it could have been 1-1 there and there. For me, he's got to put that in. He's unmarked. Tottenham are at 6s and 7s, and against the better side, you've got to put your chances in, and we didn't. And in that game, that first half alone, I think it was a game of 20 minutes, basically. We had the better of the 20 minutes. We didn't make our chances count. Tottenham had the other 20 minutes, between 20 minutes and 40 minutes, and they put their chance in. They could have even got a second. And then sort of the last 5 minutes, going into 3 minutes of added on time, the game was a bit meh. And then Tottenham go into the lead, half-time, 1-0 up. And I have to say, on that chance, they fully deserve it, and we're lucky not to be 2-0 down. But on the whole complexion of that first half, the game could have been something like 2-2 going into the break. It really could have been, if we had our shooting boots on and we put our chances in. Now, we'll go into the second half from what I'd written down. So I'd say Spurs started the better. We sort of just camped and we're on half, and Tottenham were going for it. We were defending too deep. But then on 52 minutes, we had a good attack when ASM on the left-hand side, he picks out, he has another good effort. And again, why doesn't he shoot? Hit it first time and you probably score. We're back to 1-1. But then Steve Bruce does make his first change on 54 minutes. Yedlin comes off and Lazaro comes on. I think that's a positive substitution because Lazaro was positive. He likes to get forward, whereas Yedlin, he's one of them where he gets the ball, he gets forward, but he loses it far too quickly and his delivery is not really that good. And it was far too easy for Tottenham's first goal. It went straight through his legs and Dubravka had no chance. So he comes off and that's his first game in ages. And then we do, all of the good stuff which we're supposed to do. And because we brought on Lazaro, after 55 minutes, we'll get back into the game at 1-1. And I think it's deserved on the chances we created in the first half and being more positive. So Lazaro, he nips in, he wins the ball, he drives forward, he's a bit more positive, and he picks out Matt Ritchie on the left-hand side, and he hits it first time beyond Hugo Lloris, and it's 1-1. What a fantastic goal. An absolute rifler into the top right-hand corner. Nobody was picking him up, and it's a great finish by the lad. And that's what I like about Matt Ritchie compared to Alan St-Maximin. He doesn't need asking twice. He will have that effort first time, and he'll put it in. And I have to say, it was a well-deserved equaliser at the time. But unfortunately for us, that leveller only lasted 4 minutes. Tottenham retook the lead on 59 minutes through Harry Kane. It was through a header. Spurs went on the counter-attack. It was poor defending. And Bergwijn from the right-hand side, he crossed it in. And Harry Kane was unmarked. And he basically heads it past Martin Dubravka. And I didn't quite see it on BT Sport who was marking Harry Kane, but whoever it was should have got a little bit tighter there. It looks as if it was Kraft. I could be wrong on that. Let me know down below in the comments. But it's all too easy for Harry Kane, and he scores his 200th career goal. And I have to say, he had a better second half, but we made it easy for him. And just after getting that equaliser, we've got to do better than that. We've got to defend so much better than that. And this has been our Achilles heel since the win against Bournemouth. We're letting far too many goals. We're letting the opposition in far too easily for our own liking. And I don't know what Steve Bruce has been coaching them since Bournemouth, but we looked solid before that. But after the Bournemouth game, we're all over the place defensively. I know we've got injuries, but there's no excuse for the defending. It's too easy for Spurs, and they get the 2-1 lead. And I think Steve Bruce had to make a change. And on 68 minutes, he took off Dwight Gale for Joe Linton. Personally, I would have kept them both on the pitch because Gale, albeit he missed in the first half that header, Gale and Joe Linton would have actually worked. I think that, Gale would have offered a bit more with Joe Linton up front, a bit more of a... He would have acted more of a leader than what Joe Linton offers. Joe Linton didn't really do too much, when he came on. His hold-up play is just not there. It's just, he doesn't offer anything. And when Joe Linton come on, you're thinking, we're either just going to sit back on a 2-1 defeat or Spurs are going to go on and get the third. And I'll talk about their third in a second. But on 71 minutes, we had another good chance when ASM and Lazaro link up really well. And he squares it across to Lazaro. It's quite intelligent, actually, to pick out Lazaro from where he was. And Lazaro, could you say he should cut in a bit more? But he hits it at the side netting. But it's positive. Lazaro was quite good. When he came on, he was a bit more of a threat compared to Yedlin and the rest of them. And we'll look, more of a danger getting forward. But then on 84 minutes, Bentaleb, he come off and Matty Longstaff came on. For me, that is a questionable substitution. I think, if anything, Bentaleb should have come off a lot earlier. I don't think he really offers too much to that our midfield. I think he's wank, in my opinion. He can't really pass a ball. He doesn't really offer anything to our side. Matty Longstaff, listen, he hasn't really got enough time to influence the game when you're coming on in the 84th minute. And I believe he should have come on a little bit earlier. I think when Spurs got their second goal on 59 minutes, that's when you should have took off Bentaleb and brought on Matty Longstaff, and that's when he should maybe have brought on Joe Linton, but it was a little bit too late, and I have to question his substitutions there. But listen, it's happened, and then Tottenham go on and get their all-important third goal to kill off the game, and they go on a really good counter-attack, and listen, it's a decent counter-attack, but again, it's poor defending by ourselves, and Harry Kane has a simple header. It's quite a brave one, to be fair, because there was an original save by Dubravka, but it falls kindly to Harry Kane, and he finishes it off at the Leazers to make it Newcastle United 1, Tottenham Hotspur 0. Tottenham Hotspur 3, do beg your pardon, and that's now the third defeat in a row since the Bournemouth win. That feels like a long time ago now. We've conceded 12 goals in the Premier League from defence, and we've also lost Fabian Schär to an injury. That's the last thing that we wanted, because we've got no centre-backs, with Lascelles being out, Kieran Clark's out, Schär's out. It's looking really bad for us now. Just as well, we are where we are in the league, 13th, safe. Palace could go above us with a result tomorrow. We could go down as low as 14th, but oh man, the last 3 games have been an absolute disaster. Like today, there was a bit more of a performance. Yes, we got in good areas of the pitch, but the way I look at it, it's a case of we didn't put our chances in. We had some gaping opportunities. Almiron had a good chance. These are key chances, and Shelby with his header, he should put that in. ASM had some chances. That's my only criticism of the lad. He's got good pace. He can get beyond players. He can cause problems, but sometimes you've got to hit it first time. You're getting good areas, and there was a chance there where you could have scored today. But listen, Mourinho's got his first win at St James's Park. It would be typical when there's no fans. I'm not going to complain too much about getting beat off Tottenham, because, listen, they're a good side. They've got better players. We haven't got what they've got. They've got more strength and depth than what we've got. But the way we conceded the 3 goals were quite sloppy, in my opinion. But listen, they wanted it more. They want to get into that Europa League spot, and fair play to them. I wish them all the very best for the rest of the season, and let's see how they do. I know Wolves were winning as well, so they needed that result today. Obviously, Sheffield United, I think, play tomorrow. But for us, we really need to have a look at ourselves in terms of how we're playing football, in terms of trying to put one of our chances in. And he needs to work on the defensive side of things, because Brighton next up, yes, listen, they need points as well. It all depends on their result tomorrow. They won't make it easy for us. And then we've got Liverpool last game of the season, and that is the last thing that we wanted. And with their good all-round attack, and listen, yeah, they might have won the Premier League, but they are still going for games, and it's been an absolute nightmare in terms of the defence, in terms of injuries. We've got nobody really to choose from. This is our lack of options, and Mike Ashley, is to blame for it. His lack of recruitment, his lack of understanding in terms of bringing players in, too many loanies as well, something we need to try and rectify for next season, because I want players on a contract who are actually going to play for the football club, who actually want to represent the black and white shirt. I don't like the idea of getting these loan players in, because listen, all 3 loan players like Danny Rose, Bentaleb, potentially Lazaro, I would keep actually looking back at it. I think he has actually improved, but whether Inter Milan sell him, that's the other thing. But Bentaleb and Danny Rose don't offer too much, to be honest with you. Now, yes, you could argue we are missing some of our better players, but for the goals, listen, they are poor ones to concede, in my opinion. And Harry Kane's obviously gone beyond 200 goals, but today it was all about Harry Kane for our poor defending. I don't think Dubravka had too much to do in a ways of like shots from Tottenham, but when you're a side like them with the quality that they've got, you can't afford to mess up. You can't afford to make simple errors like we did. And when you look back at all 3 goals, they're really poor. You know what I mean? Like Shea, he needs to be. I know he went off injured, and I hope he's all right. But for the first goal, you just got to clear it like down the pitch. It's simple as that. Clear the fucking ball down the pitch. Don't give it away in a silly area. Let Moura and nick the ball and get forward and let them bloody play worrying in the box. It's man. And then obviously the second one, again, it's just poor defending. Like can somebody not get on Harry Kane? Is there not two centre backs or something? Like is he just got to have the freedom of the guy if the Leazers to head that in? Oh, honestly, comical defending. And then the third one just sums it up really. But yeah, I'll get into your comments right now, and then we'll bring people into the live stream as well if you want to chat to me. But yeah, it is our 3rd defeat in a row in the Premier League. And where do we really go from here? Well, that remains to be seen, doesn't it? So I'll put it in the comments, and we'll see if you want to chat about the game. Make it a first time tonight if you want to come on and chat to me. You're more than welcome to come on. Even if you want to come on for 5-10 minutes, feel free. If you haven't subscribed, please do. And if you want to hit that thumbs up, that would be massively appreciated. And the more people that like the stream, the better. And the more people that subscribe, the better. I want to try and get the channel, up to 3,200 subs. So keep subbing away, keep liking, and it'd be amazing. And now, let's get on to the chat. So Retro NUFC says poor defending. Yeah, I have to agree for all 3 goals. But listen, the better side sort of won on chances created. You can't take nothing away from them. The next one is from Liam Hunter. Hello, Sharky. Hello, mate. Hope you're well. Karen Davison has said, hey, Sharky boy, what a game. Was hoping for a 2-1 result you predicted when we equalised. Yeah, that's what I was hoping for. But that equaliser only lasted for no longer than 4 minutes because we're switched off, and you can't afford to switch off in this league against a better opposition like Tottenham, albeit Tottenham didn't have to play well today for their victory, but they've just got an all-round better side. And I can't say we're set up all wrong. We had our chances, we just couldn't put them in, and we missed some gaping opportunities. It's just comical the way we defend at times. Yep. White Trout Channel says, head and hands, this needs to stop. A lot of blame lies with the FA. We need stability, and this takeover is causing problems, and it's spreading through the team. Yeah, we do. First of all, we need to get through the season, and then after that, yes, we need answers from the board. We need answers from the Premier League, because this is just getting stupid now. We need to plan for next season. Like the stream, guys, if you haven't already subscribed. Karen Davison says, did we play 5 at the back again? Was glad to see Joe Linton on the bench, though. I didn't think we did. I think we got forward a lot more. We played 4 at the back, and we had more chances. Problem is, we just couldn't score. We did score 1, but it just wasn't enough to get a result from the game. Vikram Nia, I think that's how I spell it. I don't know if I said that wrong there, but big up, Sharky. Keep up the good work. Thanks very much, mate. I hope you keep him well. Joe Linton is not involved. Well, he come on, Joe Linton, with like sort of the last 20-25 minutes to go, but listen, Joe Linton doesn't offer anything to our side. Joe Linton's he's more of a winger. If we play a 4-3-3, then you stick Joe Linton on the left-hand side. You get that striker in who can score goals. Ideally, for next season, I'd love to see a striker like Eze or another foreign striker who can actually score goals. Because Joe Linton, for me, I think he's wasted in a 4-2-3-1. I think he's wasted in any sort of one-up-front formation. A 4-4-2, he doesn't really offer much. But against Bournemouth, when we played 4-3-3, you've seen what he offered to the side. David Hutchins says, hi, mate. Yep, good to see you, man. Karen Davison said, so much for top 10. Well, we're just a mid-table, mediocre side until we get better players in, until we'll have that attitude like we want to start winning more games than we lose, or more games than we draw. Com and Cole says, hello, Sharky. Do you think we can beat Brighton? Of course we can. But if we play like that in terms of defending and giving sloppy goals away, then we don't give ourselves a chance, unfortunately. We played up against a good Spurs side, but they didn't play well on the night. We just gifted them 3 goals. And with their quality, that's all they need. Surprised it's not more of a deficit. Well, I don't think Spurs really had that many chances, to be honest with you. I think we really limited them to we're limited to very little, I would say. Burnley scored a penalty, so did that game finish 1-1 then? I haven't quite seen the result. Comcode says, what also do you think about the controversy surrounding AFTV, Claude and Troops? I think it's the right decision. I think anybody who uses any sort of racist offence, especially with his platform, Robbie, at Arsenal Fan TV, with the subscriber base that he's got, with the following that he has. Listen, there's always going to be one media outlet that's going to code onto it, one YouTuber or anybody who's watching onto words like that. Whether he meant it, that's another thing, but it's not really for me to get involved in. But my opinion is it's the right decision. Right, we've got some people coming into the stream. One by one we go. And we'll start off with PD Prodlock. Welcome to the stream, mate. It's finished. Actually, Jay, I'll bring you in next in a minute, okay? Just to talk one at a time. Right, I've just removed Jay. Right. So yeah, it's finished. Obviously, Peter. Newcastle 1, Spurs 3. What did you make of the performance, and how well the 3 goals? I have to say were poor, in my opinion.
I am frustrated. Yeah, I thought attack-wise it was very good. Defending was absolutely shoddy, piss poor. Unfortunately, I'm more annoyed at the second goal we've conceded by Spurs. I mean, the defending's atrocious on that one.
Was it Kraft? You look at Kraft.
It was Kraft, yes. I think he's got to be tighter on Kane, for sure.
What makes it more annoying is Bergwijn, who has the ball, right? He has an overlapping Spurs player, but he doesn't use them. But when he has the ball, he's allowed to cross that in. That's the problem.
Yeah, that is the problem.
Nobody's picking up Bergwijn, so with his quality, when he puts that in, you're expecting at least Kraft or somebody to be marking Harry Kane, and he's literally got a free header into the net. And at 2-1, you're kind of disappointed because we'll get back into the game. You know, originally at 1-1, and it only lasts 4 minutes, and you're thinking at 1-1. It's anybody's game, and I think we kind of threw it away. I really do think we've thrown the game away.
Yeah, we certainly have. Well, if you defend like that, you're just going to suffer the consequences at the end of the day, unfortunately.
I mean, when I look at the game, the first half, I think it was the first half of 2 20 minutes. So the first 20 minutes, I think we had the better chances. Almiron, obviously, he had his chance. Richie, obviously for Shelvey when he misses that header, which he should put in. And then sort of Spurs grew into it after about 20 minutes. I think that's what they needed. They sort of needed a way back into the game. And Spurs, with that first sort of chance, that real chance, to score through Son. And I mean, what's Shaw doing for that? I mean, you've got to clear it.
And yet again, you've got the ball going through the legs of Yedlin. And Dubravka beating in his near post like that as well. I mean, it's just...
The thing is, though, when you play up against better sides like Spurs, they don't exactly have to play well. They just need to be at the right place at the right time. And when they got that first goal, the fact they were allowed to play it around the box and find Son, unmarked, by the way, Son, like one of their better players on their side. He hits it first time. He fires it, obviously, beyond Dubravka. But the fact it's been allowed to find its way through Yedlin's legs, I think is quite comical. And Shaw tries to get back as well, but the damage was already done when you gave the ball away to Moura. Like, you don't give it away in a dangerous area.
Definitely not. No, I mean, you're just asking for trouble, for sure.
He's been very clumsy, though, Shaw, I think, in the last few games. I don't know what's the matter with him.
He's had an off season this season, for sure, I would say. As for Yedlin, I think his future somewhere else now. I think a player we can get off the wage bill, hopefully in the transfer market, for sure. And yeah, Pate with a lot of other players that need to be shifted on as well, for sure.
And there could have been 2-0 up as well. Son, when he picks up the ball, he has another effort. It would tip a deflection, but it was still going into the top right-hand corner, and Dubravka has to tip it over the crossbar. So in the space of, half an hour from a game which was away from Tottenham in the first 20 minutes, and half an hour, 10 minutes, it could have been 2 up.
Absolutely, yes.
Comical defending, honestly, by us at times. And yeah, we had some other chances as well. Shelvey, the biggest one for me is Dwight Gill. When Shelvey picks Gill out, he glances ahead. It's a great header, but he's got to score.
He has to. I thought it was not bad again the day. But I thought Joe Lim, when he came on, was absolutely woeful indeed. For
then
sure.
Again, what does go on?
I don't know why Dwight Gill was on the pitch. To me, should have stayed on a bit longer. I thought Jolin, when he came on, I thought he was just woeful all round. I mean, the one way he's trying to take one off his chest, and it goes, and he completely gives that away. I'm thinking, what the hell is? I mean, is this That lad got the touch of a trampoline or a bloody pogo stick now. Honestly, I thought he was terrible when he came on.
Well, then again, though, what does Joe Linton offer, though? You know, he plays better in a 4-3-3. He's a winger, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? We need that all-round striker. I think it would have worked if you kept them both on the pitch. That's the mistake he made. I think in the second half with Steve Bruce, I think he made too many basic mistakes in terms of our substitutions. You'll argue, well, we don't really have much options on the bench, but I'm sorry to say, Matty Longstaff for a start, who came on towards the end. You bring him on a lot earlier. Why does Bentaleb go off after like 84 minutes?
It's just baffling, isn't it?
Matty, like, I know fair enough his contract's running out, but what can he? I know the game was at 2-1 Spurs, but how can he influence that game, right? With only 6-7 minutes of the game left, plus stoppage time when Spurs already had the game wrapped up. But I mean, the thing is, obviously, second half, I'll just bring my air notes up because I do obviously record. But the thing is, it 1-1, right? It was good play. You know, obviously Lazaro come on. That was probably the best substitution that Steve Bruce made. He's positive. You know, he gets forward, doesn't he?
He does, yes, for sure. It was a good one to bring him on for Yedlin, who I thought Yedlin was poor. Again, but I thought Lazaro did very well to help set up the goal for attack. Well, part of the attack for the goal for Richie as well.
So I was just about to say he gets forward, he bursts the gut, and he causes problems to the Spurs defence. And what Richie was doing, not what ASM wasn't doing, he's hit it first time, and he ran the past Marouche.
That's the thing. He was in a good position. He could have had a chance, but too many touches for sure.
That's my one criticism I've got of Alan St-Maximin. He's got pace. He gets past players. He does all the right stuff. But when it comes to the final third, he takes too many touches, and the chance is gone.
Yeah, that is the thing. Unfortunately,
you've seen it when Shelvey he shanked it as well. You know, but you're thinking your chance was there first time, and you could have made it 1-1. We could have been 2-1 up with Richie's chance, but it's all ifs and buts. But it was a good finish, 1-1, and you're thinking, right, we've got back into the game. It's what we deserve on the chances that we've had in the first half. We've woken up, and we've got the 1-1. Now, let's see out the game at a 1-1, at least try and get that second goal, but we never looked like it. That's the thing.
That's the thing. And again, shocking defending for Spurs' second goal.
Bergwijn, I was going to say, on the right-hand side, he picks it up, but nobody's marking Harry Kane, and he'll never score an easier header in his career, and that's his 200th goal in his career. Well done to Harry Kane. And then obviously he scores his 201st goal when Tottenham go 3-1 up from a counter-attack, but I think the lads were just tiring out anyway. But the thing is, we had a chance in the 71st minute when ASM, he picks up the ball and he links up well with Lazaro, and you're thinking he hits it at the side net, and could he not maybe cut in, take another touch and have a go? But
possibly, yeah. So aim for the far post rather than go for the near one.
And then obviously we'll see Matty Longstaff come on, and it's a little too late really to make any sort of action in terms of attack. And then obviously Spurs get their third goal, which kills off the game ultimately. And Mourinho's now won his first game at St James's Park. It would be typical without any fans, but we made it too easy for Tottenham tonight in terms of their goals. I don't think they've really had to work for them.
Definitely not. When you defend cheaply like that, again, you know what's going to happen.
Schalke should be paying Bentaleb's wages. I think they should. After this loan deal, he's not really offered a great deal. I thought he was poor again today.
I thought his passing was fine, but again, he's not been up to it since we've had him on loan.
We should have changed it at half-time, David said. I actually kind of agree with that. I think that the changes, I was saying, should have come a lot earlier than they did. I know it's all well and good to say that now that we've lost the game 3-1. It could have finished 2-1 if we hadn't defended so poorly for that third. But for me, you do have to question Steve Bruce and his substitutions at times and who he brings on and who he takes off, because I felt there was a chance there if we'd kept if we put Joe Linton on and we kept Gale on, there was a chance that we could have made it 2-2 and ASM could have had more of a freer role. We've got Lazaro, we're attacking. And if we got a 2-2, who knows, we could have went on and won that game. I know it's all ifs and buts, but you question like the substitutions. Like, why is Bentaleb coming off after like 80 odd minutes? Like he doesn't offer anything into the game. Yeah, I mean, Matty Longstaff, like, what's going on with him? What's going on with his contract? Are they going to renew it? What's going on with that? They were saying on BT that he looks as if he's gone now. He's going to Italy or something like that. It's a real shame for the lad, because I'm sure he wants to play for the club, but when he's only getting like 5 minutes in a match,
it stays it all, doesn't it?
that tells me with only 5 minutes to go in a match, when I would easily pick Matty Longstaff over Bentleb any day of the week, and the fact he's not even starting games is laughable.
I know, it's just like, I feel like he's going to be going.
I think he's off. I really do think he's off. He's not staying here. Andrew Johnson says, unfortunately, they've clearly got their flip-flops on. Well, that's the thing. Against Bournemouth, we won 4-1. There was an outside chance of Europa League. I mean, it would have been a big if. And then top 10, and now that's evaporated now. We've conceded 12 goals, Peter, from defence. I know we've had some injury problems, but there's no excuse to concede 12. After the Bournemouth game, we've conceded 12 goals. Not good enough.
My word.
12 goals.
Just so bad, isn't it?
And now we could be losing Fabian Shaw. So we're losing Jamal Lascelles, Fabian Shaw, and we're losing Kieran Clark. We've got no centre backs. How do we play against Brighton? At some point we're going to have to play midfielders, because we haven't got anybody.
If Lascelles and possibly Lejeune aren't fit enough for Brighton, though.
Oh, well, I am hearing that Lejeune is fit for Brighton. I think they said he was going to make it for them 2 games. Just as well, because we need some centre-backs. We haven't got any. Do you know what it is? It sounds really harsh to say this, but I think Fabian Schär won't be a big miss, if I'm honest.
He's had an off-season, hasn't he? That is the thing.
He won't be a miss. I think he was poor again in the game. I think he was a bit clumsy, and especially for the first goal, which I wouldn't say it kills off the game, but it allows Tottenham to dictate how they wanted to play in that first half, and we wanted that first half to potentially go on and get that lead, but obviously we didn't, because we're given the lead. And obviously they could have got the second, but I think Schär times he just defending was a little bit wayward. Obviously, you could say Kraft had a bit of a poor game today as well. Obviously, games are sort of starting to catch up with him, but he hasn't played many games this season. But I can't really give any excuses for that defending for the second goal. I think that was just, honestly, it was comical.
Was, wasn't it?
Oh man, I was just yawning my way through that game, if I'm honest with you, because it's the same old problems. That's the thing. It's the same old problems. And they're obviously still talking about the takeover and stuff like that, and it's just getting rightly annoying, because they're saying that this is on BT Sport, by the way. They're all saying along the lines of, well, it's all a bit in the dark in Newcastle. Nothing's really getting said, and this is probably contributing to the players, certain ones wanting to play for a move away. They don't really want to be here anymore, and you don't blame some of the players, but I think for the ones who are going to leave aren't good enough anyway.
Definitely not, no.
But second half, I think it was, I don't know if it was you, I think it was quite equal second half, but we gave away 2 sloppy goals.
Exactly.
That's the fine margins when you play against the top sides. They might not have the best game, they might not attack as much, but you only need one chance.
When you defend like that as well.
Shocking. It was like there was some of the poorest defending. I mean, listen, this is the reality of Bournemouth. We've conceded 2 goals at home against West Ham. We've conceded 5 away to Manchester City. We've conceded 2 at Bournemouth, and we've now conceded 3 tonight. If that's not worrying you going into next season with this side, I don't know what is. And I don't think Steve Bruce really knows his best formation still, which is worrying me, because tonight you played a 4-4-1-1. Why just play the 4-2-3-1 and just play people out of position if you have to?
Could have done that, I suppose, but again,
the thing is, he's used 4-4-1-1 twice, right, in the last 2 games against Watford and Tottenham, and it hasn't worked. We're leaking in goals. We seem to be switching off at the wrong time.
That is the thing. I mean, and just some of the players are just not good enough for this football club.
There's too many of them. You've got Yedlin. Obviously, Shaw is going to come into question. I've got Atu. Joe Linton's not good enough unless he plays in a 4-3-3. That's only.
Yedlin for me, so far he can get in the bin for all I care.
The thing is with Joe Linton, he'd only be good enough for our side if he plays in the 4-3-3. If he's going to be used as a striker, well, we're not getting anywhere anytime soon because we can't attack.
When he came on,
his hold-up play was awful. It just kept bouncing off him, didn't it? You know what I mean? Giving the ball away to Spurs, and they had far too much space at times. And like I say, for the defending, it was just absolutely comical. And it's a case of just like the lads are now on the beach, and they have been since Bournemouth. I think I'm disappointed more for the goals that we're conceding. You know what I mean? We're okay at times, but when I've watched the last couple of games against Watford the other day and Spurs today, we can't hit a Bondo apart from the odd goal that we scored with Richie. We can't hit a Bondo. That's the problem. It was a good finish by him, by the way. I'll give Matt Ritchie good credit for that. But like, we're having gaping opportunities, or we're getting ourselves in good areas with St. Maximin, and sometimes you just got to be greedy and have a go.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Who was your man of the match today then for Newcastle? If there's one you could pick, St. Maximin.
Yeah. Oh, for sure, 100%. Yes.
He's the only one who looked as if he was going to get forward at any one time. But I just don't know how we'll go about the Brighton game, because with the injuries that we've got in the way we're playing, the last place that we want to go down is the Amex. We haven't really, I don't think we've won there in the Premier League just yet.
No, the only time we won there was last time we won their Championship, 2017.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Today it was a bit better on the counter attack than Watford, but showed a little bit more desire on the ball. But it's the defending that is just comical at times, and it's just laughable the way the goals go in. I mean, Dubravka in most games doesn't have too much to do, but then because the goals go in the way they do, he's made as if he's like a bad keeper when he's not. It's just a case of like the goals that we concede are just laughable.
Exactly. It's like he's not Superman, and when he's got clowns in front of him defending like that, for sure,
Right.
speaks for itself.
And like I say, going into Brighton, Jay, you have to go out the stream with your phone's going.
I know, just to make I've thought I'm busy.
Yeah, try not to leave your phone on sound, because it really does distract the stream. But in terms of the result, where does that leave us for Brighton on Saturday? Because if Brighton don't get a result this midweek, they're still needing points themselves just to mathematically make sure that they're going to stay up for next season, and going down the MX isn't going to be easy. They're going to probably use that as a way of getting a result to try and think, well, Newcastle haven't played really in the last couple of games, we're safe. How would you say that, Peter? How would you go about Brighton?
I think we've got a chance of possibly getting a victory, for sure.
That's if we actually have a defence.
Yeah, for sure. And we've got to defend better, because otherwise, you know what'll happen.
When it get done again, when it get crap.
Anyway, Peter, it's been good having you on the stream tonight.
No problem. Thank you very much.
And we'll see you soon. But don't forget to subscribe to PD Prologue on YouTube. And I'm sure he'll have a match review as well and quick thoughts. So thank you very much, Peter, for your thoughts. And I'm sure we'll be better for Brighton. Okay?
Yes. See you later.
Take it easy, mate. You watch what you're doing. Stay safe.
Yeah,
hello, Jay. How are you doing?
How about you, mate?
Well, I could be better after that 3-1 defeat. I think the performance was a lot better, but we just can't hit a barn door, unfortunately. We've conceded 3 sloppy goals.
I thought tonight we were just fast asleep. I watched the game. I was like watching the team. We couldn't even get. We should have scored a goal. That was one of them, and we should have won that game. We didn't.
Well, winning the game, I don't think we deserved to win the game. I think we had chances. I think Spurs, we gifted them 3 goals, but with their quality, they don't need asking twice. And I mean, the first half, it was a game of 20 minutes. Like, we had the first 20 minutes where we looked lively and we could have been maybe 1-0 up, but Tottenham, between the 20th minute and the 40th minute, they sort of woke up. They had their chances, and we gifted them, a first goal when Shaw, he loses the ball and they're allowed to play around with box. And with that, Son, he's free and he fires it past. I keep saying Lloris. He fires it past Dubravka, Fabian Shaw. So he's trying to get back, but it goes through Yedlin's legs, and they go 1-0 up. And they could easily have been 2-0 after half an hour. When again, Son has an ambitious effort from outside the box, and it took a massive deflection. It was actually going into the top right-hand corner, and Dubravka, for how good he is, he reads the situation and he has to tip it over for a corner, which nothing comes of it. But what did you make of the first goal? I mean, I thought it was quite comical, if you ask me. I mean, it was a good finish by the Son, but
it was. Oh, for fuck's sake! Sorry about that, mate. Definitely phone got. If you ringing, it's been bad. It's been a pain in the arse.
Do you want to just answer the call and come back in?
I'll come back in later on if you want.
I'm only going to be on for so long, but I'll speak to you soon anyway, Jay. It's been nice having you on.
Yeah, don't forget to subscribe to Chat on say. Thanks for being there.
Subscribe to Retro NFC if you're on YouTube. Anyway, we'll see you soon, Jay. Take it easy. Bye. So yes, sorry about that. Just due to his connection. So yeah, disappointing result. That's 3 defeats now in the Premier League. We'll start reading your comments. So Karen Davison says, the thing is, though, they're supposed to be professional. No matter what is going on with the management, they still need to put the work in. The problem is with this squad, it's got the capabilities of doing so much better than they are. And since the Bournemouth win, we've never really looked like wanting to win a game. We only have a partial performance. Watford, we tried for 45 minutes. West Ham, 50-50 game. And then we played Man City, got totally outclassed because we didn't try. And today, the performance was there. But when you don't put your chances away against better sides, you get punished time and time again with their quality. And unfortunately, we don't have what they've got. And that's nothing against Spurs because I think they didn't really have to work for the goals. I think that they used their quality to their advantage. And I can't say they didn't deserve the 3 points because they did. Our defending is it's a laugh. It's an absolute joke. And the way Steve Bruce went about it in the second half, what was his game plan? Like, what were his tactics? Because I think the substitutions were all wrong. I mean, for me, you keep on Dwight Gale on the pitch with Joe Linton, so there's a chance of an attack. You got Lazaro on one side, ASM on the other. No, he doesn't. He takes him off, and we're pretty much defending from there anyway. But we've got another guest coming in, and it is Lawrence Taylor. How you doing?
Very frustrated after that game.
I mean, what were those 3 goals out there today? What were they? Terrible.
Yeah. I mean, Son does well with the first goal, but the defence needs to do better. The second goal, for me, I think it should have been Fernandes, Martin, Harry Kane, not Emil Kraft. I would have put Lascelles on him if, well, actually, no. But for me, Fernandes is like the one to deal with balls coming into the box. So he should be the one on Kane. And the third goal, well, they would just overcommit a bit too early because it's 89th minute. Now, you don't think there's going to be a lot of... Now, usually, you're going to get 2 or 3 more minutes after that to try and find an equaliser. I mean, but in this... kind of like these circumstances, you're going to get probably, 5 minutes to attack? You know, we're just overcommitted, and was it Kraft that Mora did, and then, you know, just an easy goal for Kane. But what I will say is Fernandes needs to track Kane a bit better.
I'm surprised that Fernandes actually played the game. I wasn't expecting him to start because they were saying that he was going to be rested, he was tired, and I was sort of expecting ASM, but it was touch and go. But yeah, in terms of the result, I think I'm frustrated with it because with the performance, it was a lot better than Watford. We had a lot more of the ball, we attacked a lot more, but the 3 goals are just that poor, that comical. I mean, Spurs didn't really have to work for those 3 goals. I think when you look at Son, easy goal to finish, he's unmarked, and then Kane's 2 goals, his 2 headers, they'll never score easier goals in their careers. Like, the defence is all over the place. I mean, what let us down today? Well, then again, the attack, like, it was just non-existent as well. Like, we missed so many big gaping opportunities. Spurs didn't really have that many shots on target. Dubravka didn't have that too much to do. But the thing is, he's made to look a poor goalkeeper because the goals that we concede, we can't prevent them because the defence just make it too easy.
You know, it's like the Manchester City game. We missed Lascelles with his
leadership, don't we?
Yeah. In my opinion, I know Shelby did all right today, but for me, whilst Lascelles and Clark aren't playing, I would just give the captaincy to Fernandes, or maybe even Dubravka.
I think when you look at the game, I mean, the first half, I keep saying, I think it was a sort of a game of 20 minutes. So I think the first 20 minutes we started off the better. We had the better chances. Almiron could have put way ahead. Shelby, He puts a header over the crossbar. When for me, I think he should put that in. It's basically unmarked. And then between 20 minutes and 40 minutes, Spurs decide to wake up. They grow into the game, and for their goal after 26 minutes, I mean, it's a killer blow for us because we're actually on top. We're starting to find some sort of momentum. But when you allow a club like Spurs back into the game with their quality, with the pressure that we're putting us under, Shea has all the time in the world to clear the ball, and he doesn't. He gives it away to Moura, and then they're working it around each other, and they're allowed to play with the ball around the box, and Son's unmarked, and it goes through Yedlin's legs, past Dubravka, 1-0, and you're thinking that's the last thing that we needed, was to concede a goal like that after playing so well for the first 25 minutes defensively.
Yeah, and you know what it is? I don't think we deserve to go in at half time 1-0 down, but you know, just the defence again. Not
shocking.
Good enough.
There's no excuses. There's no excuses that we've got injuries. There's no excuses whatsoever. You've got to play to a system now. I think this 4-4-1-1, whatever it is, doesn't work. Like we've used that against Watford, it doesn't work. We'll concede too many goals. I mean, we could play the 4-2-3-1 formation, which has been getting results. Even just play players out of position for now, just to cover. Defensively, we'll make ourselves a chance with us holding two midfielders, but we're just getting ripped open in that midfield. In the defence is just. I mean, the communication, like you said, it's just not all there. I mean, Lascelles would have got onto two of those Kane goals. I reckon we wouldn't have conceded those two goals had Lascelles have played.
Well, yeah, and if Lascelles is there, I think we'll get a point. I don't think the midfield did so badly, but I think Gale had a bit of an off day. Joelinton, when he came on, just did not put the effort in.
Gale should have remained on the pitch if Joelinton's coming on.
You could argue that
we needed them both, because if you got Lazaro who's on, and then who's more positive, you obviously set up the equaliser, and you've got ASM on one side, and then you've got Gale and Joelinton on the other. There's the attack. Like at 1-1, you think, okay, go for it. Like just go for it. Maybe take Richie off or something like that. I think Steve Bruce's selections in that second half were quite questionable. They were baffling at times. I just don't know what he was thinking. I mean, Matty Longstaff, he comes on with 7-8 minutes to go. Like, what's the point? Why was Bentaleb not taken off a lot earlier? Like, what does he offer in the game? Nothing.
I want Matty Longstaff to start, but I do think actually Bentaleb did better than a lot better than what he has been lately. I mean, that's just my opinion. Yeah, I mean, I still wouldn't sign him, but that's just my opinion on him tonight. Shelby, I thought did okay. But, I mean, but we shouldn't be getting beat, let alone 3-1, but we've got 22 shots to 8. I mean, it's kind of what will annoy us, maybe it's on social media, is everyone's just pointing to us getting lucky, ignoring the result when we've got wins, saying, but we got ridiculously lucky. Now they'll just change the tune and say it's all about the result. I mean, for the whole time, the way I look at it, in those type of games, the team who lost should have just taken the chances, and we had chances, we just didn't take them.
We had a lot of chances. I mean, the game itself, whether we deserve to win the game, that's another question in itself. But a draw would have been a fair result on the whole complex, on the chances that we had. Like, we missed some gaping ones. And I was just about to mention before half time the big one for Dwight Gale when Shelby whips that ball and he glances. Okay, you could say it's unlucky. It's a glancing header. It hits the post. It could have went in. Obviously it missed, but that's a big chance. It could have been 1-1 at half time, and that really could have set us up nicely for the second half. And if we got that 2-1 with Richie scoring that goal to get with the equaliser, we went 2-1 up. I reckon we could have won that game, because it would have been a different attitude from Spurs. We know what they're like in terms of their defence.
I do feel that Gale's more suited to balls along the floor rather than in the air. I don't think he's built for just scoring headers. But if we're stuck with 4-2-3-1, maybe you would have had a bit more luck out of today.
It's all ifs and buts in this game. Exactly. Obviously, second half, we get that equaliser. Lazaro comes on. He's a bit more of a threat, and he gets forward. Spurs make a mistake, and he was quite actually. I thought he was good actually, Lazaro second half. But anyway, Richie scores that really good goal. And that's where we should really kick on. But I mean, what an absolute disaster! Only 4 minutes later for Harry Kane to get the second. Well, we've just got back into the game. We've done all the hard work after all the chances created. At 1-1, you're thinking, right, lads, don't mess up. And what do they do?
Well, ball just comes in. As I mentioned, it should have been Fernandes dealing with Harry Kane and not Emil Kraft.
Emil Kraft is not a centre back. I'm sorry to say, I was panicking when I seen Kraft at centre back. I panicked, and that's proved my point with that goal. It proved he can't. Kraft isn't. I don't see him as a centre back. I see him more maybe on that left hand side. You know, he's a bit more of a threat. But against Kane, I mean, against Kraft and Kane, there's only one winner. There's only one winner.
Exactly, and for Kraft, he just needs to stick to playing at right back. I suppose this was kind of.
He's been playing left. He's been playing right. He's been playing on both areas, but that's why I'm saying it. He's more reverted there. But if you play him at centre back, I'm not confident at all. And he got beat twice for 2 of the goals. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to just point out him. I'm actually going to point out Fernandes, because albeit Fernandes looks tired, he hasn't been himself. You know, since the Bournemouth game. In West Ham, he was poor. I think he was poor against Man City. I think he was poor against Watford, and he was poor again tonight.
Yeah, I mean, the fact we do have 5 days before the Brighton game, which is probably quite a lot around this time. Yeah, and but for the Brighton game, I'd probably look at giving Fernandes a rest if Lascelles is fit. But I think
Lascelles could be out for the rest of the season. That's what I heard.
That is wow.
Apparently it's really bad, and Cher's now injured. He's just he pulled up at the end. He'll be out for the rest of the season. We've got no Kieran Clark. The only player that's coming back that is actually due to play is Lejeune. He's back for Brighton.
I hope he is, but
no, he's back. He's back for the last 2. They said they announced it.
I think
we need him. Well, we've got no choice. We haven't got any centre backs. Like we haven't got anybody else to choose from. Just as well, Danny Rose can play as well, because we can slot him back in his position. Do you know what I mean? And maybe make some more room up. But I'm not saying if we played Rose it would have changed anything. But we need players back. Now that's the problem with loan players as well. If we have injuries and loan players, we need players in on contracts. That's the thing. That's been our Achilles heel for many years. We're weak in so many areas. We don't have enough squad depth. That's the problem. That's what messes up our season big time.
Kind of, but at the same, but maybe is it not down to a bit of like Bruce's management? Because at the end of the day, people say, "Oh, might actually sign these players, get more players in." When at the same time, we can only have 25 senior players, and I do believe the Premier League were wrong to not relax the rules, and because we could have had Paul Dummett. What was it? What can I say? But I think when it comes to loan players, fair. If it's from like another league, then there's probably not much problem. We can still play that player again, but now we've had the problem of not being allowed to play Danny Rose for this game. Then again, back when Kennedy was good, we couldn't play him against Chelsea. We still beat them 3-0. So it should be we should just point to that as the single problem.
I think fans are just frustrated really because it's not just down to Steve Bruce. I mean, Steve Bruce has done his job this season. He's kept the club up. I think really that we need answers now from the top. We need to know our direction, where we're going to go next season, what players are leaving, what players are coming in. Is Steve Bruce going to be the manager next season? What's going on with the so-called takeover? Is it going through, or is Mike Ashley going through with his ownership next season? Now, we just need answers, really. And it's been so long. Like, we can be patient for maybe a couple of months, but this has been going on for 3, 4, 5 months now. And we've heard nothing from the Premier League. We've heard nothing from the club, which I understand from the club's point of view. It is legal. And if it's with the Premier League, fair enough. They've got to do their bit. And so do the Premier League. But there's a time and a place now, with all these different rumours coming out about the takeover that or such and such has happened or it's doubtful. Listen, to try and calm fans' minds, just say something. It's simple as that. I mean, the problem we've got now is the season's obviously done. We're safe now for the Premier League. Job well done by the lads. That's all we can expect, mid-table and a cup run, right? But for next season, obviously fans can't go back into stadiums, and that's what's even more frustrating. Fans can't vent their frustration at the stadium, or they can't vent their frustration in the games because we can't be there. But for me, the bigger picture is we need answers to our questions, and there's a lot of them, and that's we're not getting it. And I think the fans aren't really frustrated at the result. I don't think they're really frustrated at the way the lads are playing. I think it's all down to one thing, and it's the takeover. Like, if we got that sort of communication, I don't think the fans will be so fussed about the result. It's all about what happens for next season. If you've been safe for the past, 3-4 games, something now should be said. Like, they can't say, oh, let's just wait for Newcastle United to be safe. We've been safe for a long time.
They might be waiting for the end of the season, but it's kind of easy to say someone's got to say something, but the question is, who is it that we need to say something? If the Premier League,
Lee Charnley is paid by Mike Ashley to say something, but he's one of those absolute clampets who doesn't really say anything. He's only spoken to the fans when he's told to speak, and that's what I don't like about this ownership. That's what I've never liked about Mike Ashley. You know, as a fan base who has one of the best supported fan bases up and down the country, who, you know, back the club through thick and through for all the crap that we've had in the past decade, if not longer. The way we support the club, and that's the way we get treated. You know what I mean? It's beyond disgraceful. And yes, we can now stop blaming the Premier League because this has been going on too long now. You know, and at one point I was like, yeah, the Premier League need to do their duty. But this duty's been going on too long. I think Richard Masters needs to come out and say something. Because if he comes out and says that this hasn't gone through, and it has been sort of not gone through for the past sort of month, then he's going to have egg on his face because he should have just said something.
Yeah, because we don't want to be waiting all this time just for like absolutely nothing to happen, and then probably worse morale amongst the fan base. Like, you know, people are gonna feel like less confident of getting rid of Mike Ashley. But what was I gonna say? I mean, he's had some interviews, but I don't think he's given too much away. And he didn't really want to give anything away with it being confidential. But I mean, what is it? It's encouraging because it's going on for too long. And especially because our fan base will just believe practically anything negative. Well, practically anything, pretty much.
But then again, though, Lawrence, I'll stop you there. I think the media don't help themselves either, though, with all the articles that come out. I mean, it's who do you believe? You know what I mean? Like, the Chronicle will come out and say something, then the Sun will come out and say something, and then your so-called respected media outlets like Sky Sports, you know, they've come out and reported it a couple of times, and nothing's come of it. Like the Binzai group, you're thinking something might come off there, but then this time round, when they mentioned this takeover with the Saudis potentially coming in, and it's been going on for as long as it has done. Like, the fans, we just want them out. That's the thing. And the fans are frustrated because when you've had so many takeover rumours like what we've had, it's become a comedy circus. It shouldn't drag on like this. I mean, this would only happen to Newcastle United Football Club. And if it was another football club, they would have their takeover by now, or they would have their decision of a no takeover. I don't know why it happens to us and what it's going to take to get rid of him. But, you know, Mike Ashley needs to come out and say something as the owner of the football club. I know, fair enough, he leaves it to Lee Charnley, but one of them needs to come out and say something because you can't allow it to drag on as it has done. I think it's frustrating for all of us because at the end of the season, right, I wouldn't be surprised if Mike Ashley's still here, that he gets rid of the likes of Valentin Maximin and Almiron and Matty Longstaff. I mean, I don't want them to leave, but the big one obviously is Matty Longstaff because, listen, he's all about the money and the £400,000 that he's going to get. That's just pocket money to him. It's a bonus. We're making nothing from it. And ASM and Almiron, listen, I want them to stay, but they're going to get shafted out the door. If it's not this summer, it'll be in the January. You know, we know what he's like. That's why we need the takeover to happen. If it happens as soon as possible, because with a takeover, at least we're guaranteed some sort of stability, and we need to build around the side because that's another thing that really annoys me as well, and that's what contributes to so many injuries. The fact that we rip our side up far too many times, and we have such a good run, we have a good period, and then Mike Ashley just rips up the side by selling better players and getting loanies in, and then we'll lose them. By the way, if, say for example, the one I would kind of be gutted to lose would be Lazaro, because I think he's started to really find himself in the last few games. Bentaleb and Rose are just fill-ins, if you like. I wouldn't miss them both, but that's the thing when you don't get play, like you were mentioning earlier on the day. You know, Jethro Willems. You know, if Mike Ashley's not sorting out the treatment, you know what? Of course we want him back, but that's the thing. When they're not our players and Mike Ashley's doing things on the cheap, it's gut-wrenching, isn't it? Because they're not our players and we really want the team to perform at the highest level.
Absolutely. I think sometimes when you're looking at injuries, sometimes you've got to look at the squad. Sometimes you've got to look at, could Bruce be doing a bit better with the coaching? Because
it's Steve Bruce, though, isn't it? I mean, he's not really a glamorous top 10 manager, is he? I think he's just doing a job for what he's got to work with the facilities that he's got at hand. When he took over the job last summer, like Rafa Benitez, like the rest gone before, it's basically try and work with what you've got. The expectations are mid-table. There's not much pressure on the lads just to stay in the league, a cup run, and accept that for the season, which is not acceptable for us. But I have to give Bruce a lot of credit for the way in which we've stayed up. Fair enough, the start of the season, it was poor. I will admit that. He changed the formation. And you could say if he'd done it a bit earlier, we could have gotten better results. But what I will say is, like Benitez, like Bruce, they've both hit expectations of the football club. It's not the manager's way of wanting to play. It's not their way of wanting to go about the season. I'm sure Steve Bruce deep down wants Newcastle to be in the top 7 and be comfortable. But can you see now why Rafa Benitez walked away?
Yeah, I get what you mean. But I'm more thinking is man managed. But with Bruce, I do have some questions about some stuff that might be going on in training, because, it's easy to say we should have had more players, when in reality, we can only have about 25. And it's not like under Rafa Benitez when we've had Servette, Kovac, Lazar in the Premier League squad, even though they never played. Practically every player, bar Rob Elliott, that were named in the summer squad from the summer, played some minutes this season. Well, and it's been similar since the January window when we had players in. We're gonna have to get rid of players because if one had Paul Dummett back in because we took him out for the injury and we didn't have room for him.
Well, that's the thing. Like in the summer, obviously the window's now been extended till October, so there's plenty of time to get players in and let players go. There's obviously going to be a mass clear, regardless whether Mike Ashley is the owner or whether it's a takeover. But I tell you what it is, though, Lawrence, and I look at the side of the season. Don't get me wrong. I think they're a bunch of grafters, and I think they work really hard, but we just lack quality up front, and I wouldn't be disappointed if we lost most of that squad. I wouldn't be. I think even if a takeover happened, I would expect more quality in the side. But not just that, though. Even if Mike Ashley stays, my question to Mike Ashley is, why is he not putting enough money into the side when there's enough money coming through in the Premier League deals? There's enough coming through in the turnstiles. And it's been proven the Premier League don't need fans, because if they can play games behind closed doors, there's enough money in the Premier League clubs to suggest that we can buy players and to do things on the cheap and get loanies in, by the way. We're a Premier League football club making the money that we've got. We're not a side that's just deciding, no, we've come up for one season, we're a small club, we're going to go straight back down. We are potentially a stable Premier League club that's been in the Premier League for over 25 years and with a history of what we've got. Why are we getting loanies in? Why can't we afford wages of Danny Rose and Lazaro? I think it's quite laughable in my opinion. Why can't we compete? With even with bang average players. Why is it got to be that we're not a stabilised football club under Mike Ashley? Why can't we be stabilised? Why can't we compete? The thing is, for next season, for the amount of money that's coming in, this is going to be now our 4th season in the Premier League. There's been a lot of money coming since the Championship days. There's no excuse not to spend on the side. There really isn't.
Well, I think maybe part of that was, if we did supposedly spend 40 million on Jordan, then you could think, did we actually spend 40 million, or was it just put out there?
We didn't. £10 million was spent on Joe Linton because we sold Perez for 30. That for me, that's an easily transferable money into the account of Frankfurt. Sorry, not Frankfurt. Hoffenheim. I'm getting what's his face?
Perez.
Jetro Willens. But when Perez was sold to Leicester, right, we've got £30 million back. We only paid 10 million because that's all we really had to pay for him, because that's the money we got back off Perez deal anyway.
Yeah.
But you question the signings, you question the scouts. I think the scouting's all wrong at our football club. I think some of the players that they bring in, they're just useless, half of them. Like, the one for me that stands out big, that's so fun is Bentaleb. We didn't need at the time. We didn't need a centre mid, and we bought one. Well, we got one. Why?
Well, the thing is, I know that I could see why he went for wanted a midfielder if Keeson Young wanted out.
I don't think he did. I think he forced him out. He wasn't getting enough game time. I don't think he didn't want to leave.
Well, maybe he just wanted to leave because he wasn't getting the game time.
But no, he wanted to stay, but he chucked him out. He said, you're not for this season. You're not playing enough games. You're going to be leaving." And he wanted to stay. Like Key, yes, he wasn't brilliant, but at least he would have done a bit more than Bentaleb. I would have trusted Key over Bentaleb.
Yeah, I understand that, but if he wasn't playing, then it was kind of like no point of keeping him. I think with Bentaleb, because he's the issues with Schalke, were there, but I mean, was it Samari who was supposedly had the bid accepted for? Then he apparently rejected were. Then you got to think, could we have potentially spent that 35 million? Oh, thanks, Karen. Could that not have told you maybe could have spent that money on like another midfielder if we wanted a midfielder?
Andrew NUFC says, "Thought we played decent tonight. I did say that Lascelles was a big miss tonight in that back line. That's what we've spoken about. I think that the 3 goals that were conceded were just laughable. They really were. Like with Lascelles' leadership, with how rock he is at the back, for me, I think we don't concede 3 goals tonight. If we concede 1 goal tonight, it's at least 1.
Yeah, because I thought he was one of the better players on Saturday, but one of the problems I did have was he came off, looked injured, and he was rushed back on Saturday for me. But I think Fernandes should take the captaincy if he's going to play games. I mean,
I'll give it a Shelby. Just give it a Shelby.
Yeah, you can say so, but maybe he's Monday night against Brighton. If we can, Cher and Lejeune, but that's going to have to be down to fitness.
Do you want to stay in, Lawrence, for the comments?
Yeah, okay.
I was just going to say to everyone who's watching, if you do want to be in the live stream, there is a link, so you can just press that and you can chat to me, you can chat to Lawrence about the game. If you're feeling nervous, it's okay. Like, just make it your first time. Maybe come on for 5-10 minutes. It's not going to hurt anybody. And it'd be great to have you on and just get your opinion on the game today. Obviously, we lost 3-1 at home to Tottenham, 3rd defeat in a row. And there's plenty of opportunity. But this is another comment. So appropriate that we finished our season at Bournemouth. Since then, they have 4 blue flag on the beaches. Yeah, we haven't done anything since, have we, really? I think I've had this one from Feed. He said he's a Spurs fan here. I'd like to thank Newcastle for a great game. Well, you can thank us for our poor defending. It was exciting until the 3-1. I hope Shaw's shoulder will be okay. Well, first of all, I think you didn't really have to try for the result, but fair play is you're going for the Europa League, and 2 good goals by Harry Kane and 1 by Son. Right place at the right time. But we sort of gifted you those 3 goals, in my opinion. But yeah, Shaw. Listen, I think he's been a bit clumsy in the game, I think, and he's not really had his best season, in my opinion. But all in all, yeah, we do wish him well in his obviously operation now with his arm injury.
Oh,
he did go off with his arm. He didn't look very in a good place. He's going to be out for a while.
Yeah, I'm wondering if potentially, it's the end of the season. It's a good time for experimenting. If we might want to try maybe Isaac Hayden at centre back. If
Hayden's out for the season.
Yeah.
Well, we haven't got anybody. Hayden's out for the season. We've lost everybody. We've lost everybody. Unless Steve Bruce says otherwise in his post-match press conference tonight, unless he says anything for Brighton. But from what I was reading, we'll have it. And after tonight, that's a massive blow, losing Shaw. And we're just hoping with what was said in the papers and obviously what was said online about Lejeune for Monday against Brighton and Liverpool, that we've gotten back, because for me, we haven't got anybody. We're losing. Lascelles seems to be out for the season. We've lost Shaw now for the rest of the season. Kieran Clark is out for the rest of the season. Fernandes is on a tight rope. Thing is, we're playing fatigued centre backs, and this is the thing: we're getting injuries and we're conceding a lot of goals. But it's just typical today. Like, we'd have so many chances and just not put them in, apart from one. Karen Davison says might be useful for the future to find players who can play multiple positions and strikers, etc. I think that's what you were talking about.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea. Because I'm thinking maybe for next season, we'll get rid of Yedlin, and then we'll bring in two left backs because I'd like to have 5 fullbacks, but at least maybe 1 or 2 of them can play on both sides. I'm thinking, do we bring in another right back who can play left back, like Mankiel can do, or do we just have 3 left backs, including Paul Dummett, because we obviously can't trust Dummett to stay fit?
Well, that's the thing. Like, there's going to be a lot of questions that need answering because we don't know who the manager's going to be. We don't know what's going on with the ownership, how much we're going to spend. It's all good planning for next season, who you want and who we have to get rid of, and that's what we want to do, but we don't know with that yet. But what I will say up front, that needs addressing as well, because for me, we haven't really got an out-and-out striker, because Andy Carroll's injured for most of the season anyway. I know he's got an extension, but we're not going to see him throughout the season. We might see him in the second half, maybe, to try and make an impact, to see where we are in the game. Mutu, it seems like he's out the door at the end of the season. Dwight Gale, bless him, he's doing really well. He's scoring goals, but I don't think he'll be here next season. I think he's a championship striker at best, so I think we may lose him. And I really do think. But Joe Linton, for me, he isn't a striker. He's a left winger, so we need 2 strikers in. I would love to go in for Eze from QPR. I'd love to just go in for him. Get somebody who's actually a striker and not do poor homework last season and get Joe Linton thinking he's actually a striker when he can't run.
Yeah, I just think that was just very poor planning.
The thing is, Lawrence, we haven't got a striker. Like, who is actually our official striker? You could say Dwight Gale, but I just don't think he's not really at this level. Like, he scores goals, but he's been like Andy Carroll. He's injury prone. He's not going to survive the whole season, is he? I mean, somebody like Eze from QPR, they're not going to get promoted. Ferdinand said if we pay the right price, there's a chance for him. He wants to make the step up. He's young, he's energetic. We need young, energetic strikers that are going to play our formation, the 4-2-3-1, or whatever managers there next season. Whatever the ownership is, realistically, we need somebody who's energetic, and we don't have that.
I think with Eze, one of the problems is I kind of think he'd probably just be like a squad player now.
But that's what I'm saying. We'll get Eze in, but we could also get another striker in as well, maybe another foreign striker who is actually a striker who could actually finish.
Exactly. So,
but you are right about the defence. There's a lot of work that needs done on that, and the midfield as well needs looking at. We need strength and depth. We need to get rid of players that aren't good enough. There's a lot of deadwood at this football club. Too much of it still.
Yeah, I think with Dwight Gale, if Steve Bruce is still manager, I think he will stay. But I think otherwise, I could see him going out on loan to a championship. I could see him leaving, or maybe he might end, because of his wages, he might end up on loan at the championship and then he just goes on a free in a year's time.
Well, that's the thing with our side. I mean, with this ownership, you can never really get excited with the squads that we have, even if they do well, because we've seen it all before. They get ripped up. This one's, for me, I'd accept it as long as we don't get rid of Alan St. Maximin and Almiron. I don't mind ripping the rest of it up and keeping some of our better players like Richie, of course, who's signed a new contract. We've got Dubravka, Lascelles. There's just key areas that need addressed, and it is evident when you watch we play. But in times gone by before, we've had even better sides than what we've got now, ripped up like a Denver Bar. We had a Cisse, we had a Ben Arthur, Kabay. One of our better sides under Mike Ashley, which he could have actually built on. We could have actually won the Europa League, in my opinion, back in 2013. But you got rid of Denver Bar, and that was the difference. And you could see the decline in the Premier League table. Obviously, Pardew ended up walking away. We eventually got relegated. But now, with that, obviously, we got promoted, but we're now just that stable mid-table Premier League club. Yeah. For me, I think we should be doing so much better than that. I don't want to be sort of deluded when I say that. I think the club's got so much more potential But the thing is, we don't build on what we've got. Like we finished 10th under Rafa Benitez, and he finished was a 13th last season with more points, but yet he wanted more money to spend to get the club challenging for the top 7, which isn't impossible if Wolves can do it. If Sheffield United can be thereabouts, and if Leicester can do it with next to no money, then why can't we? Do you know what I mean? With the potential of our club, and no wonder Rafa Benitez walked away last season, because you think, do you know what it is, right? I got you out of the Championship when it mattered. I stabilised this football club. Solid mid-table, by the way. And then you're thinking, right, I want to go on to that next level, European football, which Rafa can easily get with. Europa League at the very best. I'm not saying Champions League. Europa League's where it's at. But Mike Ashley goes, no, we're gonna get rid of Rondon because he's too old, and albeit he was banging in, double figures every season, and then he did for us. But I don't know how many he got for West Brom. I think it was the same. But the thing is with he got rid of Perez as well. When we were linking up really well, that squad could have become so much better had Rafa stayed and Mike Ashley backed Rafa and give him more money. I think we could have achieved so much more this season. I really do.
Exactly. If he just
could you imagine though, right, with Alan Saint-Maximin, Rondon up front, you've got Perez, you've got Almiron, you know what I mean? Like if you keep the side the way it was and keep Rondon and Perez, and you bring in Alan Saint-Maximin, I think we're more of a threat. I really do. I think if Rondon's there, he's going to finish 9 times out of 10. But for me, Joe Linton, he was meant to be that Rondon though, wasn't he? Which he doesn't do much. And then we've obviously got Gale, doesn't do enough. Mutu, he's nowhere to be seen in the squad. And then you've got Andy Carroll, who was brought in just to appease the fan base, and he only gives you, a 10, 15 minute performance. That's not enough.
Yeah. But I think, for me, I don't think we're signing to maximum if Perez stays.
I think we could. I don't know. I think we could. I really do. If Mike Ashley pulls his finger out, which he hasn't been doing, who knows? He could have done.
Well, I do think so, but then again, it's kind of like Rondon, Perez, Almiron, Saint-Maximin.
We've got more depth. We've got more squad depth. We've got more squad depth up front. That's what you need. That's what we'll call out for. We'll call out for goals, and we don't see enough of it because we just don't. The thing is, does it not worry you that our top goal scorer this season is John Joe Shelby from that holding midfield position? Does that not worry you?
Absolutely, and
by a lot of pundits, we're getting called a joke. They're saying how on earth at Newcastle mid-table, when John Joe Shelby's were highest goal scorer from midfield and our strikers can't score, we're getting laughed at. We get laughed at.
I think. Well, in my opinion, I think.
I don't know how. Honestly, this season, Lawrence, I don't know how we've done it. I don't know how we've stayed up. We're centre backs have obviously contributed more. At one point, it was we're centre backs. Then obviously to our midfielders, but your strikers have only got how many goals has Dwight Gale got? Has he got 3 or something like that?
3.
Exactly. Joe Linton 2. How have we stayed up? It's only because we're defence and we're midfielders have bailed out.
And also the quality of the league this season. Well, you could say teams.
The Premier League is poor. Apart from Liverpool winning the league and Man City being the other exception, the rest of the other 18 sides, including myself, we're all beatable. Anybody from is it third Chelsea? From Chelsea downwards, we're all beatable.
Yeah, and we've managed to beat Manchester United and Chelsea this season. Despite having no good striker in terms of goal scoring, and but then again, the Premier League quality. It's kind of why Liverpool just ran away with it this season.
Yeah, you've got to give Liverpool credit for the way that they battled through obviously last season's frustrations, and then they've built. That's something that Liverpool do, and a lot of the big clubs do, to something that we don't do. We don't build on what we've got. Do you know what I mean? I think there was a big opportunity missed when we finished 13th last season with more points from the first season when we finished 10th. That comes in with what you said about the Premier League being poor. If you've got more points from the season before, but you actually finished 3 places below the first season when we finished 10th. But for me, that tells me that we weren't improving every season with a point tally under Rafa, that he just needed a bit more money just to try and take it to that next level, because I don't think there's much in it between where we are and 7th place. I really don't. That goes with how poor the league is. That's where we've been. That's where we've been poor, because the example is we beat Bournemouth 4-1. Okay, rule out Manchester City, but West Ham, you should easily be trying to go for 3 points. Villa would drop silly points anyway. Would drop silly points against Watford. And we've now dropped silly points against Tottenham. You know what I mean? There's points there to be played in. With the league being the way it is, with no fans, I think we've missed a big opportunity. I really do. Huge one.
And especially when you're seeing Man United struggling earlier in the season, Arsenal and Spurs probably not going to get Europa.
But what did Manchester United do that the rest didn't do? They strengthened in that midfield. They were missing that creative attacking midfielder like Bruno, who I watched in the Portuguese league. He gets them forward and he catapults them up the Premier League table. But then you look at somebody like us, albeit the formation was the reason why we've changed. But what's not to say that we're under Steve Bruce that we're not going to have a poorer season because we're going to get found out. And I think now we're starting to get found out with results. Oh, you could say we're safe, but I think we're getting found out.
It's very worrying at this point in time. I think
because you talk about his tactics. And that's why I'm saying we're getting found out.
Today, he's found a formation that works 4-2-3-1. Why go back to 5 at the back? I know Danny Rose. I know Danny Rose is ineligible, but Mankier was left back. I mean, what have we got to lose? We're not going to get Europa League. We're not going to get relegated. But at the same time, there is still Deadwood to get rid of.
Too much of it, that's the problem. So, Lawrence will read through the comments. So, Ryan Sweeney says, first 25 minutes, I thought the TOON looked really good. And I know that's irrelevant. Well, that's what I was saying. It was a game of sort of like 20 minutes. I thought we played well. 20 minutes was then obviously allowed Spurs back into it. For the first 5 minutes were defended, then Spurs got that goal. I just think the game in general, I don't think Spurs really had to break sweat. I think we just gave them 3 easy goals, which they'll never score 3 easier goals in the season. But that's what happens though with teams like Tottenham, who when you play up against us and nothing to play for, I think it's easier for them to get 3 points, because if Tottenham played up against like a Liverpool or maybe a Bournemouth, even Bournemouth played really well against Manchester City tonight. I think Spurs could have struggled against Bournemouth. I know that's all ifs and buts if that had been that game, but what I'm saying is, our attitude at the minute is just on the pitch. Like for now, I can't wait for the season to finish. Like I've been like that since the Man City game. The season just needs. If the season ended now, we lost all 6 points against Brighton and Liverpool, I wouldn't give a job. I want the answers from the top of the club. That's what I want.
Yeah, I think right now, if we get a win, I'll enjoy it obviously. But right now, we need to know what is going on, like off the pitch, because
it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Karen Davison says, I still wonder how much influence Steve Bruce actually has, or whether actually holds more of the dictatorship over player match decisions. I still think that regardless of what Steve Bruce says, Mike Ashley holds the key to what happens to our squad. And when he's coming out with things like Steve Bruce, what did he say? Oh, well, I don't make the decision not to play Matty Longstaff. I'm picking a side to win the game. I'm sorry to say, but that's all down to Mike Ashley wanting to sell Matty Longstaff to make a quick buck. That's the way I look at it. I don't think Steve Bruce has much of a say. And the thing is, he's a head coach. So why does he have a say? Whereas Rafa was the manager, he had a say for so long. And then when we got to the Premier League and he wanted ambition, what did he do? Mike Ashley said, no, I don't want it anymore. I want to sell Perez so I can make £30 million, because you can't just sell Perez like that. If Rafa's the manager, you've got to go through the manager. If you're a head coach, you just work with the players, and that's what Mike Ashley likes. He likes it when players just are worked by the coach and they can have that free will to leave. That's where Mike Ashley wins, and that's where it's frustrating for us, because we don't keep a hold of our better players. But I don't know about you, Lawrence, but I think Mike Ashley still has a big say on players and how they're tactically, and Lee Charnley as well, how the influence on the pitch.
I don't think so personally in terms of team selection.
I do. I think Lee Charnley has a massive say. I do.
Nah, well, for me, even if that's the case, then why can't, if Steve Bruce is getting told not to play certain players so they can be sold, he should just, you just stand up, just say, no, I'm going to pick him.
Right, so anyway, if the takeover doesn't go through, expect riots in the TOON. Well, our riots don't really happen, to be honest. We're trying to organise a protest, but it doesn't quite come off. It's not down to the fact we're poor. Well, you could say we are. But Mike Ashley's quite stubborn. Would you not agree? I think he's a stubborn guy. He doesn't just back off to anybody, does he? But obviously, we've been waiting for this takeover for so long now. It's becoming frustrating. Like, that's what I want now. I just want answers rather than the results. I think I can accept defeat. I can expect the 3-1 defeat if we try. But with the 2 remaining games, like, for me, I'm at that attitude now. I'm honestly not bothered what happens. If we lose to Brighton and we lose to Liverpool, like, Brighton are obviously trying to stay up. Liverpool, champions. But the thing is, when you're stuck in mid-table with nowhere to go, and you're going to probably finish as low as 15th, then it's just, that's a thing. That's our expectations, is to finish mid-table between 10th and 15th. That's what it is, isn't it?
Yep.
You're hopeful, aren't you, Lawrence? You're hopeful that a takeover is going to happen. You've always been, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, because
Holly Blade says we need to sack Steve Bruce at the end of the season. I would personally give him a chance, give him the first 6 months if the takeover happens. I know that's going to be very controversial, and it's going to be. I understand that. But I think he's done well with what he's had available to him. But what can he do with money? At the end of the day, it doesn't matter who you bring in as a manager, because they're all going to make mistakes and money's going to be wasted. It's not just going to come off straight away. Like, if a takeover happens, yes, there's a lot of dead wood to clear out and there's a lot of work that needs to be done. But for Man City, it didn't work overnight. At Chelsea, it didn't work overnight. You had to find the right blend, the right side that's going to get you to where you want to be. There is going to be money spent if it goes through, but there is also going to be mistakes made along the way. You could bring Pochettino in, you could bring in anybody you like, but there's going to be mistakes. And I'd rather give Bruce that chance to say, right, okay, if it doesn't work out within January, then yeah, you sack him and you think, well, we gave him a chance. He's a local lad. See what he does with you never know. He might change the formation with better players. It's only because we have this side. It's only what he can work with, and I think that's difficult to say. But I don't know about you, Lawrence. For me, I'll personally give him a chance. I'm not one of them to hire and fire managers that quickly. If it's evident this season under Bruce that we've been really poor, then yeah, fair enough. But I think second half of the season, I think he sort of revived himself a little bit, and you've got to give him credit for the fact that we've been safe with 4 or 5 games to go. You know what I mean? We've never looked like it in trouble, but I don't know about you, but personally, it is a controversial one, but you have yours, sir.
I think, well, if they're going to sack him, well, if they take over, they sack him, in my opinion, they will have somebody else lined up. For me, I can, it's all well and good to see Bruce playing 4-2-3-1 against most teams in the league, but I cannot really trust him not to play that, even whether it goes through or not, against Manchester City or Liverpool. Yeah,
I understand. Yeah, guys, if you haven't liked the stream, hit the thumbs up. It takes literally 2 seconds to do it. So if you could do that, there's 15 of you watching. So if 15 of you could hit the like button, that'd be great. And if you could subscribe, please try and help the channel to try and get 3,200 subscribers, 3,200. But anyway, we'll keep going. I love this comment. May as well wear our Speedos for Brighton away. Honestly, I predict absolute headless chicken performance on Monday. We might as well wear our Speedos. I mean, listen, we might as well do the Steve Bruce, because we're not really going to do much of it. I can't say we're doing it. With the injuries that we've got and with the way we're playing up front, you don't expect too much, though, do you? I mean, that's probably a fair comment.
Yeah.
Ty Parker says he's kind of gone with what I've said. Joe Linton looks his best at left mid or left wing, but still isn't worth 40 million, 20 million. I mean, listen, he can't control how much he's worth, but he could do a lot more in terms of what he does with the ball. And Peter said it, and he was right. When he came on, the ball it kept rebounding off him. He wasn't really controlling the ball like he used to, and I think that's where Steve Bruce got it wrong, when he didn't keep them both on the pitch. But again, it's all ifs and buts. Ty Parker says Gale looks good with Shelby playing through balls to him. Well, he's got that experience from the Championship, hasn't he? James says we should go for Odson or Edward. Yes, Odson Edward, yeah, from Rangers. Looks a very good player. Well, I wanted him in the January. I wanted him last season, but if it's possible, I don't see why not. He plays in the SPL. Like, no offense to Rangers, they're a big club, but if you look at the state of that league, I think he'll definitely want to move into the Premier League. If only he could sort out his disciplinary record, but he could definitely offer a lot more in terms of a threat. Go on, Lawrence.
Were you not on about Morales there? Because he's one who plays for Rangers and had supposedly had bad disciplinary record.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Sorry. Do beg your pardon. Yeah, he plays for Celtic, and then obviously I was mentioning Morelos as well because we're being linked with both of them as well. We're being linked with both.
Oh,
So
yeah.
any of them could easily just walk into our side.
Yeah, exactly.
Any of them?
Well, I don't know. I think, that definitely better than Joelinton.
They can't be any worse than that, too. Surely not.
Are they not strikers? Do you not mean are they not strikers?
Well, it depends how you see them, because for Rangers, I've seen them on the wing and I've seen them up front. I've seen them, like Gerrard and obviously Leonard. Right. I've watched the SPL show and they get played in two areas, sometimes up front, sometimes on the wing. So that's why I said they can't be any worse than Atu, because when Atu comes on, he's got the pace, but his final touch is woeful. Obviously, we know he's probably going to leave at the end of the season, but Ty Parker says, I don't think that Celtic will let him go. Well, we'll wait to see on that. Money does talk. Harry said, I said hi to you, Lawrence.
Hi. Oh man, we can still finish as low as 16th. Rafa had a mission, yep. So we got rid of him. Yeah.
I agree with this comment. It's going to be, if the takeover doesn't go through, then I believe that it will be mid-table. Like, that is the reality of this football club.
Yeah.
If we don't, get this takeover, which I've sort of washed my hands of it, I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't go through. They'll make some sort of excuse to why it hasn't gone through, as they always do. But we need it. Otherwise, it is mid-table. That's what it is, and that's the frustration.
Exactly, and it kind of annoys us when I'm seeing, Wolves, Wolves, Leicester managing to get up into the European places and us staying mid-table. And I mean, to be honest, we might not even finish as high as 13th without a takeover.
That's very, very true. Ty Parker says Dubravka has kept us up. Yeah. I do actually have to agree with that, because he's kept the most saves, but he's made the most saves in the Premier League this season. I think that is evident that we do rely on him so much, and you never know. For me, he could easily make it into a Premier League top 6 club. Like, he's so underrated, I would say. He's one of the best outside of the top 6 in that bracket. We'll see where that goes, but Dubravka, he's safe hands, isn't he? You wouldn't play anybody else.
Exactly.
Let's have a look. Rafa's defending has arguably been coached out of them by Super Brucey. Well, he relied on Rafa's formation for the start of it, and he admitted that himself to say, I wanted to make sure the players were comfortable, but I will sort of instill my formation into it once things get back to normal, once things start ticking, but it didn't, and he had to get that formation in straight away, the 4-2-3-1.
Yeah.
Ty Parker says, if we don't get taken over and don't sign a good scorer, I could see us struggling with relegation or potentially going down. It's not out of the question. I think mid-table is where it's at, but if we start off anything like we did at the start of this season and we don't address it, and we lose some of our better players, which is not impossible, but Mike Ashley don't forget, then it is a reality, with this football club. We've been down twice already.
And we've got to remember, Bruce did all right in the first season at Hull after he got them up. Smashed Fulham and Cardiff, beat Liverpool 3-1, and this is Liverpool side challenging for the title. Following season, they get relegated, and it could happen to us. I think as for players going, we've got to see how they are replaced, because we have seen other clubs do a bit better after signing these players. Unfortunately for us, as soon as we do it, obviously you've got a right to be annoyed, but especially if they're not replaced. But unfortunately, there'll be some who just act like, it's not, like boycotting games and stuff, instead of giving the replacements because they're unknown a chance.
Yeah, Kevin Davis says, let's hope fans are allowed in next season, because without the fans, this football does not work for me. Well, we know that. I think we've been made aware that fans could be in as of September. Don't quote me on it. Yeah. That's what we said yesterday. But, well, we know quite well that we need fans in grounds. Like, football's nothing without the fans. We say that all the time, and it just doesn't feel right, does it?
Yeah, I'm thinking it'll probably be 25% capacity potentially, or 30 million for Perez. Well, that was a release clause, but he probably stays if Rafa stays. But, Yeah.
I think we could have got more, though, Lawrence. I think we could have got more.
I don't think so. If we've got
the
release clauses in there, really.
I do.
Well,
I do.
Yeah, but thing is, why would a club pay you more for a player than what the release clause is if there's a release clause? But
well, I know that part, but before that, we should have given him a contract. You know what I mean? We were asking the club to give him a contract before that. We had chances and we didn't do it. And obviously, what I'm saying is, if we'd offered him the contract in the January before he left, then I think Mike Ashley could easily have got 40, 50, 60 million for him. Easy. If Leicester really wanted him, if they really wanted him, 50 million of the
potentially, but I think in terms of next season, we might maybe the start of next season might be a case like easing fan term. You know, it might be like a case of like 25%
they're going to have to.
No away fans.
Yeah, they're going to have to. White Trout Channel says we have to look at the FA. Yeah, it's them that's created the rot with the uncertainty. Well, that's what we're all saying. We need answers very quickly now. We know fans need to plan for next season, like about the season tickets, what the future holds at the club. Season most likely is going to start on September the 12th. That's what I've heard. But whether that happens, I don't know.
I mean, I know the Great North Run on that weekend is off, so
just going through some of the comments just to make sure I'm just trying to catch up.
Eddie Howe.
Bournemouth go down this season, replace Eddie Howe. That would be a way forward. And what I've actually said, if we were going to get a manager in with a takeover, I wouldn't mind Eddie Howe. Like, he'll be in the background, but I think he's done a solid job at Bournemouth for the past 5 years. Well, obviously he's been there longer, but for the Premier League, 5 years of Premier League football is great for them.
I think he's taken Bournemouth as far as he can. It might have been better for him to leave. Maybe he's actually, has anyone actually come in for him? But if he comes in for him, he might, with them being relegated, he might be tempted away if say we try to get him in.
Jody says the takeover doesn't go through and Bruce is at the wheel. I can see us going down based on this season and the fact that Ashley won't spend nothing. Well, I think with Bruce in charge, I think it's easy not to spend anything because I think Steve Bruce is an easy touch because he's the head coach, and I don't think he really has that. He doesn't have the anger of Rafa Benitez because Rafa will put you in your place. That's what he did with Mike Ashley at times, and he couldn't cope, and that's why Ashley got rid of him. And you could talk about the money situation regarding you went to Daddy and Yafang, but I don't think it was down to money. I think Rafa wanted ambition, and that has been the evidence of Mike Ashley's era of the 13 years. And I think Rafa, you could say Chris Hughton to a stage, they wanted some sort of ambition and there was nothing there.
I think with Dalian Yafang, I never expected him to go to China. I was stunned when he went there. But it's kind of a case of, we didn't give him a good offer. If anybody out from Europe wanted him, they should have went in for him. And maybe he was thinking short term. He was thinking, you know what? If I could have a short term project here, and and hopefully if it goes well at the end of it, maybe Newcastle will have new owners and come get us, or there'll always be other clubs.
Kevin Davis says, if we get taken over and investment is in the team, how many of the current squad will be staying? I think there's only about 7 that I'll keep, 7 or 8 maximum.
There's quite a few, but we're not going to get rid of all Deadwood in one summer. It's
going to take at least 2-3 seasons because some of them are on obviously long contracts as well, and it depends on what the other club's willing to pay.
Yeah, Sabat and Lazar will be gone next summer permanently. I think Atsu, he might go this summer. If not, he'll go next summer. You could probably say the same with Dwight Gale.
Well, I think that's quite an easy one for me. I've always gone with Rafa Benitez. I think he was the hope that we didn't have under Mike Ashley until he was driven out. I know Bruce has done a great job. I think he's done a solid job this season. But Rafa, for me, was always the way forward. But then again, obviously, we'll have to move on from Rafa. But he was
Exactly.
always that. But he always gave you that hope, though, didn't he? In charge, like we've got a top quality caliber manager, but unfortunately, with Bruce, you're going down the wrong alley. But you're just hoping that he's doing enough to keep the club up with the hierarchy because he wants things done on the cheap.
Yeah, definitely.
I think I do kind of agree with this one. I'd love it to happen, but I don't think it will. Rafa Benitez coming back if the takeover happens. I think he's got a job to do with Dali and Yafang.
Yeah,
it seems
definitely.
now that he's settled. And I think Rafa Benitez, in a sense, he's left on not so bad terms with the Newcastle fans because with us, like he got promoted out of the Championship. He stabilised the club. And unfortunately, he wanted a better deal and he wouldn't get it. And, I think if we're going to go forward, we need a Pochettino or we need an Allegri. Or we need somebody who's a young coach or somebody who's got a bit of experience of European football just to take the club on to that next level. But it won't be a quick fix. If the takeover happens, it's going to take a bit of time. But we need to be looking. Maybe I say give Bruce 6 months, but even if he has that full season in charge for the takeover, like Manchester City, they're going to change it very quickly.
Yeah, definitely. But personally, I think. If they were to come in, I think they'd probably just bring their own man in. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, most likely. I mean, obviously, I'm a want to give him a chance, but we'll wait and see because takeovers are very strange and owners don't always do the same. Jody says, I'll make this the last comment. Wouldn't say Bruce has done a good job personally after the football I've watched week in, week out. It isn't until recently things have turned around to keep us up. But the thing is, albeit it may not have been the best football, but we've found a way to win games, and the reality is we're mid-table, and he's kept us safe in the Premier League with 4 or 5 games to go. And at one point we looked as if we were going to go down, but the reality is we're a Premier League club for next season. So he hasn't done too of a bad job really, because even if Rafa had stayed at the club with this squad, it would have been the same outcome.
I'm not really sure, but
I don't. If Rafa Benitez has this side, I don't think we're finishing any higher than 12. I really don't.
Yeah, it is a difficult one because a bit like our viewers had earlier in 15-16, say, then you think it would have been like a different striker up front on both occasions.
You know what? It is a difficult one, but it's all ifs and buts, isn't it? Because obviously you go from one good manager to somebody who hasn't really got the CV of Rafa Benitez. But
I think if he had the 40 million. And he was allowed to sign his own players. If he had the budget Steve Bruce had in the summer, he was allowed to sign whatever players he wanted. There's no way he signs Joe Linton, let alone for the 40 million, for example.
I've just had a score update, and Arsenal are beating Liverpool 2-1.
Yeah, I've seen that.
But I'll basically leave you with this one. So how would you go about the Brighton game then on Monday? I know we've got 5 days to beg your pardon to recover. It's going to be a tough ask, isn't it, for the lads to go all the way down there to get something. I mean, we should be trying to go for all 3 points, but given we're safe and Brighton have got something to play for, albeit they probably need a point in this midweek fixture to say they're safe before us. But how would you go about it if you're Steve Bruce? How would you? Would you change formation, or what would you change, and what would you do?
Well, I think with Brighton, given to be fair, given it's Monday night, they could be safe by then. But I think 4-2-3-1 formation against Brighton, and I'd do the same against Liverpool on the final day. Again, I'll obviously have. Well, definitely 4-2-3-1, but I have a lot more idea of who I'd pick on after his press conference.
Do you know what it is? If Brighton do get safe before the playoffs, because I don't know who they've got this midweek, but whoever it is, if they get
and then
Southampton, let's just say they get a draw. I think a draw would do it for them. 37 points, maybe. I think they will stay up with that.
I can't see them staying up. I've seen them talked about a lot less in the relegation battle. In fact, what I meant is, like, you can't see them going down now, and in fact, they're hardly even getting talked about in the relegation battle.
It's just in case, obviously Watford and Southampton. I know Bournemouth lost today, but it's in case they do something against Southampton and they get those 3 points, and it comes to the last day.
I've just had a look at the table. Actually, if they get a point, then they're effectively safe because of the goal difference. But the win, they're mathematically safe. And then
that's what I'm saying. But when it comes to Monday's game, if they are safe by then, do you not just think it's going to have like 0-0 written all over it? Like it's going to be one of those four sort of draws. It's on the TV. It's Brighton away where just complete defend. It's going to have a 0-0 or a 1-1 written all over it.
I would not be surprised, but it's just dead rubber. Yeah, exactly. Wouldn't be surprised if it was just just to complete boredom. Good job, Iron Mike. Oh yeah, the FA Cup games.
Yeah, 4 wins in 18. He hasn't done a good job. Well, the thing is, I'm not saying yes. You could obviously argue on his record this season. It's not been fantastic, but what I'm trying to say is he's done what was expected at the start of the season, was to keep the club in the Premier League, mid-table, and an FA Cup run. I wasn't expecting, a lot. I think Archer wants to come in the stream. Lawrence, is it okay if you leave? But it's been good having you on.
Yeah, I think I've been speaking too long.
So too long, it's all right, mate. You can talk on you as long as you like. It's just there's nobody else want to talk to.
I feel like I need a drink. So
yeah, no problem, Lawrence. Well, we'll see you for the Brighton game if you're going to come on. But sure, we'll dissect that one. But stay safe, mate, and thanks for coming on. So yeah, 4 wins in 18. Like I say, I think he's kept winning the Premier League. I think that's why I say he's done a satisfactory job. I wouldn't say a good job. I think it's been okay, but that's what's expected. Ty Parker says draw pretty much guarantees. Yeah, it's probably what it's going to be. Andrew Archer says, is it okay to join? Yeah, you can. I think this is him coming in now. Hello, Archer, man. How's it going?
I'm Alice. How are you doing?
I don't know. I mean, obviously we're safe. I'm kind of just frustrated that we didn't really put our chances in when we had them. And Spurs have scored 3 simple goals. Goals that we should probably be defending a lot better. I'd say the performance was there.
Yeah.
But the defending was just comical. Like we gave him like 3 simple goals, in my opinion. That you'd expect of a side that's been defending well before the Bournemouth win.
Yeah.
Like you'd expect us to clear our lines, but we didn't. But what did you make of the game?
I think it was just like you said, the defense was just like completely all over the shop. They just let Son just basically they gone back of the net. But it was just like literally can't believe it. You like we beat Bournemouth what, like 4-1, and then obviously we had Man City, knew that was gonna happen, but we should at least done something against Watford last week, and obviously should at least get something out of Tottenham. I would have been happy if we got a draw actually tonight against Spurs.
I think the performance was worthy of a draw, but it's the defence that's let us down. You could say there's been injuries and stuff, but the way we conceded goals were just they were just poor. Like you shouldn't do that at this level. I mean, Harry Kane's his first headed goal, Kraft was supposed to be mocking him apparently. He was nowhere to be seen. When that ball comes into the box and Harry Kane scores with his head, it's who's going to win. Harry Kane.
Oh, obviously.
He was at fault for the third. He was at fault for the third goal as well, not defending properly.
Yeah, no, and Fabian Schär, he just had a shocker a day. Like
he was at fault for the first goal.
I know.
He's out. He's injured now.
What, Shaw?
He's got an arm injury. He's out now for he'll be out for the rest of the season now. 2 games to go. So we've now lost Jamal Lascelles. We haven't got Kieran Clark. We've lost Shea. Fernandez has looked off. He just looks tired, really, more than anything. Obviously, Danny Rose couldn't play because he's playing against his former club. Obviously, where he's on loan from them. We're playing players like in areas where they're not used to playing. You could say that Kraft played a lot better on the left, but he was put in the centre back position. He can't defend. Like it's pathetic. Like that just goes to show our lack of ambition from the owner. Like, it's just this just goes to show if you don't spend correctly and you don't spend in areas where you need to make your squad a lot stronger, you get punished.
Yeah, and plus I still can't believe not Joe Linton, Matty Longstaff was on the bench yet again.
Do you think he's leaving?
The way things are going, I've got a really bad feeling Longstaff will probably go.
I think they'll sell him. I think there's no. I don't understand because you look at Bentaleb and you look at Matty Longstaff. Who are you starting first, Bentaleb or Matty Longstaff? Because I know who I'm starting first.
For me, it's Matty Longstaff straight away.
Like Bentaleb, I just don't get how Bentaleb gets a game. I really don't. I think he's weak. I think he's poor. I can't think he can pass a ball. I know, fair enough, you could say he's done a lot better today, but that's like one game in about probably 6 or 7 that he's played. Like, it's not really a good record to have, is it? When we signed him, I didn't think it was really the signing that we needed. But when you're seeing Matty Longstaff coming on with like 7 minutes to go, you think, why? Like, why didn't you make that substitution in like the 60th minute, or even when Tottenham got that goal? Why didn't you just make a substitution there and then, or even when we got the equaliser? Like, why make it up?
I know. It's just crazy.
What do you make of Richie's goal?
Oh, Richie's goal was a screamer, that, like. Top bins. What a goal.
I mean, at 1-1, you're thinking, if there's only any one club that's going to win it, it's us. You know, we'll go on and try and win the game, but we'll concede, obviously, that second goal within 4 minutes of, like, getting the equaliser of all our hard work, and then the minute Spurs got that third one, I mean, the game was just killed off. I mean, that's the one thing I'll take from this game is the defending. Like, up front, I think it was a much better performance, like, up top, but we missed some sitters. I mean, the big one for me in the first half was Dwight Gill. You know, when that ball comes in the box, he glances it onto the post. For me, he's got to find the net there. He's unmocked.
I know. Should have scored.
It's just comical when you watch us at times, but I think his second half substitutions were really baffling. I think he brought them on at the wrong time. And if there's one I will question is, why did Dwight Gill just stay on the pitch and keep Joe Linton on the pitch to play the ball for them together? But have more of a chance of scoring. You know, you got ASM, you got Lazaro, Dwight Gill, and Joe Linton.
Playing like a 4-2-3-1 formation.
You could have reverted the formation, but he didn't, and we sort of just played at the top. We played into their hands, really. I think Tottenham, the way we're defended at times. I mean, obviously Fabian Schär was at fault for the first goal, but listen, I think obviously Kraft takes a lot of responsibility for the other 2 goals. But all in all, when you've got injuries and stuff like that, and you have the quality that Spurs have got, then we're going to make mistakes. Do you know what I mean? Steve Bruce has been changing the formations, and then again, you know, we're safe in the Premier League. That is something we're going to have to accept. You know, we've nothing to play for apart from mid-table. We're not going anywhere. And Tottenham are playing for Europe. That's the sort of performances that we're going to have to get used to until the Liverpool game and we finish the season.
Yeah.
But apart from that, I think it was just a frustrating one, really, because we had chances there to at least get a draw, and we didn't get the draw that we probably deserved. But then again, when you play against better opposition than Tottenham Hotspur, you know that they're going to find a way to carve you open. So, how would you go about the Brighton game then on Monday? I know we've got 5 games to try and obviously recover and put things right, but how would you go about it? It's away from home, it's on the telly.
I would just basically go for it. I'd play Dwight Gill up front yet again because he seemed to played really well tonight. I would drop Bentaleb. Sorry, but I've just got to drop Bentaleb. I just need to stick. I
agree with that one.
Because like the season's almost finished because it finishes next week. Next Sunday. So for me, Bruce has got to like drop Bentaleb and make a change and replace him with Matty Longstaff.
He needs 90 minutes, like the young lad. I mean, he's got real potential, but listen, we don't know what's going on with Matty Longstaff. We don't know if it's his agent. We don't know if it's him. We don't know what offer they've made because they talk about, you know, that they've made him an offer. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it's like $5,000 a week or something like that. You know what I mean? When I think he's worth, 10, 15 grand a week, I wouldn't say he's worth any more than that. People can say 20,000 a week, whatever. I don't think he is really. I think he doesn't play enough. He doesn't play enough games. he's still got a lot of learning to do. But I wouldn't be surprised if they've offered him like five grand a week and like bonuses. When for a fine fact he's a young lad, he's got real potential of doing something at the football club with the right manager and obviously playing the right formation with players like Alan St. Maximin, who's going to help him grow. But I honestly wouldn't be surprised if it's like that sort of offer. But we want to hope that he's going to be a Newcastle player next season, but I wouldn't be surprised if he left, because we've seen it all before this time with Andy Carroll. We've seen it with Ben Arthur. We've seen it with Kabay. We've had our squad ripped up so many times. Demba Ba as well.
That's the thing with I don't get with the TOON, right? We're bringing like top players, right? So likes of Ben Arthur, Kabay, Demba Ba, CC, and LM will literally went into Europe under Alan Pardew, and then next minute we flog them off and bring in other players in that we don't even know. What we should do is bring in new players in and make the squad stronger.
Well, that's the thing. Like, we keep ripping it up, and we don't really seem to get anywhere. Just when we think we're getting somewhere, it's just back to square one again, isn't it? But Chris NOC says again, Steve Bruce out. He's really not. He really has to go. Well, we'll wait and see at the end of the season. I mean, he's got 2 games left. As you said, Brighton away. Yeah, I think I would just go for it. I think it's going to be a bit of a dead rubber because there's not much to play for. Brighton are not really down. I mean, they've got a slight chance, but it's only slight. They'll get their result against Southampton. But yeah, I think Steve Bruce has got a selection headache in terms of the back 4, whichever formation he wants to go with. But yeah, I think Brighton is something we should be looking at try and get points from. And then obviously Liverpool, you could say it's a free hit. I don't like that word, free hit. But I think with them being champions and the season being done the way it is, I just want the season to end now. But yeah, I think we should have a go definitely against Brighton. And I think we need to play a lot better in terms of our attacking, because if we do that, I think we could beat Brighton. If we can put the ball in the... I think, no offence to Brighton, but their defence is a lot worse than Tottenham's. But I can see why we've lost tonight, because we played against a better side who will put their chances in if we give them a sniff of a chance of an opportunity, whereas Brighton, they'll give you chances. But Archer, it's been good to have you on tonight. I really appreciate it.
No, no bother, mate.
I'll see you back on for the Brighton game if you're around.
I will do.
Is there anything else? Is anything else you'd like to say before you go? Was there anything you wanted to say?
No, not really.
Well, anyway, Archer, it's been good having you on, and I hope you stay safe. And I'm sure we'll bounce back hopefully against Brighton on Monday night.
I will do. Catch you later.
Take it easy, mate. Take it easy.
How are the lads?
How are the lads, man? Yes, so this brings an end to a 2-hour live stream review with all the fans' reaction. I just want to say thank you to everybody who's been in the comments tonight, the Newcastle fans, the Spurs fans. I just want to say thanks to everybody who's contributed, to everybody who's been in the live stream tonight. Jay, Archer, Peter, and Lawrence, thank you very much. And if you want to be on next time, feel free to come on, even for 5-10 minutes. Don't be shy. And for anybody who's even in the comments, just come on for 5-10 minutes. Honestly, it'd be great to have your opinion, because it really does matter on this channel. And listen, it wasn't to be. We lost 3-1 to Tottenham. A decent side, of course. They didn't play their best football, but they don't have to with their quality. And we'll have to move on now to Brighton with safety already assured. Brighton, it could be a dead rubber fixture, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't try and get all 3 points and try and end the season more positive rather than just gifting goals like we have. 12 goals conceded. It's very poor, but we'll have to move on from it. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll hear something from the takeover if it happens. I say if at the end of the season, because we do need answers, and we need massive improvements for Brighton on Monday night. So I will end by saying thank you very much for watching. If you haven't liked the video, please hit the thumbs up. It takes literally 2 seconds to do that. And if you're watching the rerun, please put your comments down below. I will get back in touch with you. And make sure, if you haven't subscribed, please do. I am trying to get 3,200 subscribers, so the more people that subscribe, the better. And hit that notification bell so you'll always be notified of any videos that I do. There will be a match preview for the Brighton game on Saturday afternoon at some point, so the next 2-3 days, so stay tuned for that. And I will leave you by saying, how are the lads? And I'll see you all soon. Keep it tuned. How are the lads?